Hello, I'm on a roll today. It's always the days where I haven't even had time to physically brush my hair. Well, I think there's even junk on my glasses right now. Or whatever. It doesn't matter. My mind is rolling. My spirit is rolling. And when I'm thinking, I, while I'm working, I'm always thinking while I work, because working actually, I love work. It's so good for you. You can think and work at the same time and multitask. Point is, I was trying to put a little parable on some of the philosophies that I'm trying to share or get a point across. Okay, so I'm from a bigger city, not no metropolis by any means, but a much bigger city. And then I moved to a much smaller town, but still traffic and plenty of people. And now I'm in a really small town. And so I've noticed that my driving skills are not as good again. And I'm going to tell you why. And this is how we affect each other. And I'm going to try to explain this. So, thinking about law, okay? We have traffic laws. Why? For the good of everyone who's driving, to protect us all from accidents. Accidents happen from carelessness. They happen from lawlessness. Now, there's two extremes of this lawlessness. The area I moved into, the lawlessness, is in a passive aggressiveness. Now, I say this because it's kind of like a false peace. It's also, you can call it, even though I'm in Wisconsin, it's Minnesota nice. And what that means, it's just nice, but it's not true, genuine, rooted in the fullness of truth we're talking about again. It's passive, which turns out really it's aggressive. And the reason why it's really aggressive, because it's still breaking the law. And I'm going to explain this. So, in Winona, Minnesota, I don't live there, but frequent there because it's one of the only towns around. When you drive in Winona, Minnesota, be prepared to not follow all the rules because of passive aggressiveness. You either get along with these passive aggressive people, and then you start becoming not as good a driver because it causes confusion. Even though there's not as many accidents in aggressive, bigger city where people are the opposite. Both are not good. The reason I'm a better driver, though, in that situation, because you have to be more alert and watch out for those kind of people. It's harder to watch out for the passive aggressive. You know what I mean? You know that personality type I'm talking about? Both extremes, dangerous. Extremely aggressive people, extremely passive aggressive. Again, we're talking about in the balance of truth and spirit, all things. So how are people passive aggressive? It never ends. A lot of stop signs, four-way stops. I pull up, well, just as another person to my right, they're just a little before me. Or even if it's a tie, it doesn't matter. It never, hardly ever fails. I'm waiting for the wave because that's what they do. I don't do that. I refuse to do it. The rule is the person to your right, if they're on my right, then they're to my right. They have the right of way in a tie. Or if they're there first, just barely, it doesn't matter. They absolutely are passive aggressive. And you know what it does to my brain? It causes frustration, confusion, because I'm always like, oh, am I supposed to be going now or not? You're sitting there, you're not waving. I don't know what to do now. I don't know how to be at peace with you because you refuse. So how I handle it is my choice. I handle it with self-control. I give it to the Lord with a sigh of relief. Thank God, no accident. Because, see, in the bigger city, 2 aggressive, stupid drivers have hurt me. Well, passive aggressive drivers can hurt people too. They're going 45 miles an hour and a 55, swerving around, stuff on the trunk or whatever, because they're hillbillies out on the highway. They're not speeding, but it's just as dangerous and just as law breaking. Okay, so Winona's really bad. I'm sorry. And it's kind of like this. Everybody's so nice, but not behind your back. Unless you got to be careful. Be forthright with kindness and respect. So when the passive aggressives, now I've gotten used to it and expect it. But see, what's going to happen the day when they're just sitting there being passive aggressive and I'm like, okay, you're not going to go, so I'm going to go. What about the day when I do that and they decide that they're now going to follow the rule and go too? There's an accident. Whose fault is it then? It's going to be my word against theirs. It's going to be confusion. So it's just ridiculous. The good thing about this area is a lot of roundabouts. I believe in roundabouts. It is much easier to be somewhere in the middle of the road from aggressive to passive aggressive drivers, because you kind of just get to free will make your own senses. Now, so when you get hit, if you get hit in a roundabout, you guarantee it's their fault, whoever hit you, because you're in there first. End of story. There's no, unless you're going super fast, and somebody would notice that. You see what I mean? So in that sense, I really believe in roundabouts, and I think they should be everywhere. If you know what I'm talking about. There's no stop sign. There's no light. You follow the arrow. You go when you can get in there. You make sure, the little more aggressive people, they just make it. The passive ones, they barely make it. It's still not perfect, but it's better than the stop sign thing around here. And if that makes sense at all about what I'm talking about, life, extreme views that are like, I'm on this extreme, so I'm going to just throw away the other side completely, even though it's actually bring good about what's there and bring good. Stupid. Sorry. It's total idiocy, ignorance. It hurts us as human beings. It hurts us as neighbors. How do we love each other? How do we love one another? So I'm the only one doing the love, putting up with you? Or are you going to give some love back? And what helps that is just following simple rules. Simple rules. Not rules that are out there that nobody can keep because it's too much. I mean, it's just oppressing. That's what we got to stay away from. Simple guidelines, boundaries that fit. I believe in driving boundaries, totally. I am against drinking alcohol and driving completely. It is dangerous. I've done it. It's only the grace of God. Nobody got hurt or me. Don't ever do that. It's wrong. It's wrong. I'm just going to challenge anyone who's listening to this, whether you live, if you're resonating what I'm talking about, just start there in your life even. Try to be strong. You know the rules. Just driving. Just start there in your life. See what happens. Follow them kindly. When someone else is not, be aware. There's both, on both ends. You have to be aware of your surroundings and realize, don't say they're right because they're not right. Don't honk and freak out on people and have road rage. Handle it. Accept it, but recognize it. Recognize this extreme passive behavior as well as extreme aggressive behavior. And when you, at every opportunity, try to teach and speak this truth. Teach it to the children. And kids are even afraid to drive these days. They're afraid to do much of anything. It's easier just to stare at social media and be entertained. Well, let's stop this. Let's not be awoke. Let's get totally woke up. Awake. Awake. Aware. With the lights on. Okay. And start there. So, in my case, what I do is I've had to retrain my thinking since I've been here. I now, and that's not the only situation. I mean, it just happens all the time. Someone from the left, they were there first. It's like they don't want to go and they're just waving. It's like, why? I don't want your stupid passive-aggressive kindness. It boggles my mind. It's affecting me as a human being, as a driver, to be the safest driver I want to be. For myself, my family, and everyone around me. And people don't understand that. And then you got those who don't want to stop at a stop sign and they just want to run right through. You got to watch for them too. So what do? Do what's right yourself. Teach it with kindness. So as I was saying, what I do. I'm not saying this always happens. It's just very frequent. It's the majority of the time. So I have to change myself. I have to have self-control. I can't change anyone else, but hopefully I'll set an example. So when I come up to the stop sign, I'm retraining myself again because they totally has taken my guard off. You see, if that makes any sense. And I can't blame anyone else. I have to just take the reins back in my hands. And this is just driving. I'm applying this to everything in life. So, okay. Example. So I pull up. They pull. But when I pulled up, they were there first to the left. And I know they were. So I look over at them. If they are not going, I just smile and I put my hands up like, what are you going to do? That's my question. What are you going to do? Patiently waiting. If they go, thank God they follow the rules. If they wave, then I go. It's that simple. Why? What I'm doing is I'm saying to them with sign language, it's your turn. I'm challenging them. Are you going to follow the rules or are you going to be passive for some strange reason, whatever, that's your problem. Either way, I have to change myself so that I will still be the good driver that I am, and I always have been. Not to brag, but just to say, hey, this is the way it is. Do not let other people take you somewhere you do not want to go. Stay where you're at, stand your ground, or continue to grow. And of course, in standing your ground, you will grow because you will continue to be able to, you have conquered that ground within yourself, and you'll be able to conquer more, not through force, not through condemnation to others, not through, I'm trying to think of some other words, but through example, through light, through love, through patience, through kindness, not passiveness, not aggressiveness. Just right there, that's the tree of life with him as much as you can. Am I perfect at it? Absolutely not. I mean, it's like, I'm tired. Why are you people doing this to me? Can you just follow the stupid? It's so simple. To be clear, when I talk about the middle or the rightness of the tree of life, don't be confused of someone who will not take a side or choose, or I don't mean that kind of middle. I'm talking where both truths from both extremes, all truth coming together into one narrow road. As Jesus said, he is the path, he's the gate, he's the road. It leads you to all It leads you to everything that you need to know. The kingdom of God dwelling inside. So that's what I mean. None of this being a person who, oh yeah, you're talking to one person and you're, oh sure, whatever you say, and they're on one extreme with the mixed up lies and confusion, and then they talk to someone else who might have something else, and they're like, yeah, but they will never actually stand with their full armor on in opposition or anything. They'll never accept any kind of opposition, because even in the middle of Christ, you're having a lot. That's where the most opposition is. It's coming from both sides. It's coming from all around you, you see. But that's where you're supposed to be with him, because that's where the power is. So, again, don't be confused with this. Whatever you want, tolerance, whatever you say. Oh, keep the peace and never rock the boat. But in the meantime, you're rocking the boat somewhere else because that's what you really think. You see what I mean? I hope you see what I mean. There's a fine line of difference. There always is. The Bible talks about the wheat and the tares coming up together. Well, wheat, it looks like wheat. So do tares. They look alike, but one is not food. One is weed. It's a junk. It burns up in the chaff. So as you see, be the wheat. Even if you're going to know the difference, because when it comes down to the fire of anything, the wheat will still be standing. The chaff, it blows away, it burns, it's gone. And that separation is coming soon. See, that's a parable of understanding human beings. There's more. I have to get to work. Sorry.